Morning, name's Roscoe. Just been asked to come in and help fill in some gaps with some training on the site. What we're doing today is working effectively with others. It's just a company-wide thing. Everybody's had to do it before, and I think you were away when we did the last lot of training. So if you don't mind, first things first, I'll give you this folder. There's a record of attendance sheet on the front. If you could write your name and that you attended the course. Everything else is on there. And then we've got a learner's handout and some information in there. So if you could write your name on that. Just move your folder out of the way. So if that's alright, just write your name on that just before we get started.
There's a lot of reading in
Yeah,
here.
yeah. That learner's handout that you've got there, that you won't have to read along with that. That's just a layout of the course, just so you've got some information so you can follow along if you wish, if you want to read through that as we go along. But the presentation will be all up in front of you here, and yeah.
If I struggle to read,
Okay.
is there a screen reader that I could use or someone to assist me?
You won't need a screen reader for today because the PowerPoint will be up on the board.
Oh,
But if we do any computer work in the future, by all means, yes, there is a screen reader, and I can show you how to use that. So yeah, that's a good little pro thing. So you're all right with writing and everything like that. With there is an activity handout in a little bit further.
I might need help with that.
You might need help.
Yeah.
Yep, you okay? Right. So if I go and get somebody from outside, are you happy for them to come and give you a hand to fill that out as we go along?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, yeah. So, you want to come and give us a hand, please, sir? Greg, we're just going through this course, and I know you did this course the other day.
Yep.
Robin has said he's just got a bit of an issue with his hand today, and he's just asked if he could have a bit of a hand to fill out the activity. Remember, we watched a video and there's the do's and don'ts through the activity. Would you mind terribly filling that out for him while he lets his hand heal?
Sure.
So that'll be right. So yeah, as we go through, when we get through to the video, there'll be a they'll sort of talk you through it and they'll give you 5 points. So if you have a quick look at the activity handout, there's a string of sections down the side here, do's and don'ts about the course, like the video that's there. And then as they say on, they'll actually say on the board, number 1 will be do this, and then if you want me to pause the video, so you could relay that to Greg. We can just pause it for 2 seconds, and you just say, "Oh, can you write number 1 will be for that?" Yep. Yeah. So yeah. So they'll actually verbalise that on the board through the course. So, all right. So if you're going to hand the paperwork over to Greg, I will introduce the course. So the course layout. So it's only a 30-minute session. It's only a quick session. You've already got your learners handout and communication and participation. If you could have your mobile phones on either low volume or flight mode or something just for the time. If you should end up with an emergency phone call or something like that, by all means give us a yell. We can stop the course and come back to it if it's an emergency. Session times are the 30 minutes. We'll have a break just after. Respectful behaviour. And with your technology and what have you, yeah, just if you can, if you want to play games or anything like that, just hang 5. We'll just go through the course. It's only a 30-minute thing, and we haven't really got a lot on for the rest of the day. That's about it for that one. Housekeeping. The attendance sheet, you filled out your attendance sheet earlier. The location, so the toilets are just outside the back of the building over here. Bins, there's a bin just in the corner if you have any rubbish. Failing that, I'll collect all the paperwork at the end of the day. If you need to smoke when we finished this session, there's a smokers area just across the laydown yard. Emergency muster areas. should we end up with an emergency, the supervisor will come and get us, and we'll just walk past the light vehicle area, over across to the little abundant area, and it's demarcated. First aid kits, there's a first aid kit and all that sort of jazz in the crib room, and hopefully we won't need it, but it's there if we need it. Have you got any questions so far? Nothing yet? Cool. Alright, so the learning outcomes of this course is how to communicate with others on a company level and with the individuals. By company level we mean through your superiors like your supervisor or your managers, and individual work colleagues will be, you know, like your fellow truck drivers and all that kind of. And the communication barriers. There'll be the do's and don'ts, which there'll be a video to follow up. Just the do's and don'ts on communication and what have you. Right. Workplace communication is important for both the individual and the company-wide, and effective communication is necessary for the success of the whole company. For the company, it is important colleagues to be informed. Directions and instructions on production, information on workplace practices, information on workplace policies and procedures, company or divisional goals, you know, what production levels they're expecting, things like that. And motivation of personnel is also another big thing for a company level. For the individual, you'll have positive relationships with your colleagues. If you can end up with a good relationship with your colleagues, you end up more productive, you work better together rather than against each other. It'll end up with a friendly work environment, high level of customer service. That'll reflect through the management of the contract that we hold. Levels of responsibility and accountability, and job satisfaction. That will help with that. Some of the do's and don'ts. With the do's, make suggestions if you're in part of a meeting or what have you. If you make suggestions as you go along, that might help with the daily grind. Support each other. So if you have a work colleague that has an idea, you know, support their idea. If you sort of run their idea down, they may not give feedback, and it might be valid later on in the track. Ask for clarification when you need it. If the supervisor or manager or something gives you a task, you could, you know, either feedback that task to clarify it, or you could ask them to repeat it in another way that makes you understand, that helps you understand. And then you could acknowledge feedback. You know, like if you've done, you know, a certain amount of loads, or you've tipped off in the right place, or, you know, if you're not 100% sure, you could, you know, ask your supervisor if you were tipping off, you know, have I tipped in the right spot, or, you know, did they want it separately? That could go even for other machines in the stockpiles and what have you. Don'ts. So as a group setting, don't interrupt the speaker. So if you know, Greg was giving a point in a toolbox meeting, you wouldn't interrupt him and talk over the top of him. You'd let him finish having his say. You wouldn't criticise him. Another thing. So if his view is slightly different than yours, you wouldn't criticise his view. You know, you wouldn't. You know, you didn't disagree, but you could talk about it in a way that didn't cause a rift. You know, so you didn't ruin the bond of the workforce, and maybe you could work it out amongst yourselves and come up with a mutual ground. In a group setting, if you were doing a JSA or something like that, you wouldn't avoid participation in something like that, because everybody's view is important. You might see something that is important, and, you know, Greg or myself may have missed, or, you know, your supervisor may have missed, and then you've seen it from another point of view, and so participation is a big thing. And group discussions. Make sure you participate in group discussions the best you can. So, anything so far?
If I disagree with something that someone said and I did communicate that in a respectful manner,
Yep.
but they took offence,
Yep.
how would you deal with that?
If you could try and de-escalate it somewhat and maybe explain it again slightly differently and see if they could pick up your point of view, and then just keep your tone as neutral as you can and see if you could rectify it that way. If for some reason they couldn't agree and it was still escalated, you know, they were quite upset about your point of view or not being the same, you could always get a third party and maybe get your supervisor and say, look, this is my point of view, this was his point of view, we can't seem to come to an agreement, could you help us? You know, that would be one way around it. Yeah, does that make sense? Help? Yep. Sweet. Right, yeah, communication process. The communicate what? So like the effective communication process and how it would work. How communication process is, it'd be spoken, written and visual. You'll see there's three main types of communication that will be in the workplace, and I'll give you examples of each as we go along so you know what they are. So professional behaviour is valued by all employers, and when you speak on the phone, participate in a meeting or emails, create and send documents, leave notes, all those things are important to communication and effective communication. So if you leave notes and emails and text through, or you know, all those sorts of communication barriers through work, they're all important. Interpersonal skills and tools were used to interact and communicate effectively with different people. If you have a good interpersonal skills, you'll usually have good communication with a variety of people with differing backgrounds and a wide range of levels. There's an openness to others, so be honest and open with your feelings and concerns and be willing to discuss. Lack of openness can lead to misunderstandings or even resentment. Understanding others, so be perceptive about their feelings, needs of your colleagues, and place yourself in their shoes if you can. Another form of communication, effective communication, is equality. Treating everybody as an equal is very important. You know, nobody's superior or no one's smarter or dumber than anybody else in the place. You know, we're all here as an equal, and treating everybody as an equal is a big thing to effective communication. Supporting them also. You can show support at a practical and emotional level and be willing to pitch in and help. That encourage new employees, support good ideas and propose to others. Being positive. Enjoy your work and take pride in doing a good job. Companies receive the byproducts of these by, you know, receiving everybody's teamwork, and yeah, it's just helps support each other and helps the flow and all that kind of stuff. Trusting each other, so having a good trust relationship with your other work colleagues will sort of work in the long run. You know, you trust Greg's opinions and trust him as an operator and what have you. That will work better as a group environment. You'll get more out of each other if you sort of have even a work level of trust together. Yeah. A good bus driver. Alright, so we'll go through the hows. So you'll have the spoken, written and the visual communications around the place. So when you're speaking, make sure you speak clearly in a language that's easy to understand and everybody can, you know, you don't use too many jargons and different things that other people won't understand. Correct words and grammar. Effective questioning techniques, you know, like you were just saying before, if you don't agree, you could question Greg on his idea, but if you do it in a way that's, you know, acceptable and at a level meaner, then he may not take offence to it and would de-escalate it before was to a point. Your tone, that'll sort of convey your feelings of happiness, sadness, anger, pleading or comforting or what have you. So make sure be aware of your tone that you're speaking in, your volume. If you're overly loud, that could come across as aggressive. If you're too quiet, he may not be able to hear you properly, especially if there's background noise, all that kind of stuff around the place. Your speed, the speed in which you speak. If you are too fast, especially on two-way communications, you may not be able to understand so much with background noise. So yeah, if you can keep it to a good steady pace, like you're talking in general. You don't want to be too slow, because that'll be monotonous and people would probably switch off if you've got a fair bit to say. If you've got anything written, if you're writing anything down and you've got to leave notes, be mindful of what you write, who you're writing it to. If you're writing it down, try and write in a manner that's easily legible for others to read. So whether it's block letters or something like that. If Greg was to come by in about 20 minutes after you'd left, he'd understand what you're writing. Another good way to do it is if you write down something, if you write the time and the date or your name, so they know that, oh, Robin left me a note today, and then just write down what you had. And if it was important, maybe you could even leave your phone number, and then he could give you a quick call and just verify that note was today and it was important. Some of the visual communications that you would see in the workplace would be signage. So you've got your first aid signage, emergency evacuation points, the 000s and emergency muster points, smoking areas, toilets, all those sorts of things. Any other visual aids that you can think of? Maybe mandatory PPE is one.
Nose.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, there's all those sorts of visual aids that'll communicate without even actually having words in it. Any questions so far? No? Alright, factors that would affect communication. We've sort of touched on a few of these. So physical barriers. If there's a lot of noise in the background, or maybe a bit of distance, that maybe say you're yelling across the side of from one truck to the other, like across the truck, there's a bit of background noise, things like that. That could be a physical barrier. It could be also maybe like Greg or myself might have a bit of hearing trouble or something like that. So you have to make sure that's another barrier that could be fatigue or illness. Maybe you've got a sore ear and you can't quite hear properly. Stress. What have we got going on here? Inattention. So the lack of interest or too much information. If someone gave too much information, you'd sort of drift off. That you'd want, say, a toolbox talk, you'd want to try and keep it point-based and not too monotonous, so you just vague out and stop listening, and then when you walk out of the room, what are we doing again? Sort of those sorts of comments. Inconsistency. If your supervisor was to give you information and then change the information, again and again, or just give you different points, you'd sort of get lost. That'd be another that'd affect your communication, wouldn't it? So, individual differences. So if you and Greg, for argument's sake, if you guys didn't get along, had a bit of a back history, that would affect your communication, because you wouldn't want to receive information from him as willingly as you would for somebody that you got along well with. So sort of going back to where we were before, if you have a good work relationship and if you can fix that problem before it became to a point where you wouldn't want to receive information anymore, would be helpful. Jumping to conclusions. So if Greg was telling you a story about something, rather than jumping to the end and think you knew what he was talking about, let him finish, because it might end up slightly different or what have you from what you thought. The lack of feedback. If you were to, like we were saying earlier, if you were to go up to another site and tip off, and if someone thought you were doing it wrong but didn't give you feedback, you'd keep doing it all day and not knowing that you were doing it wrong. So if you were to get the feedback, that would help help do your job and would sort of, we could even stop negative phrases, like if you were doing that wrong all day and he didn't give you information, that negative phrase, he wouldn't have to go, oh, bloody Robert wasn't listening or didn't pay attention. So if that feedback was given at the start of the day, then it wouldn't come across to a negative phrase. History, like we discussed earlier, sort of ties in with individual differences. So if you've got a history of you and Greg have had a few beefs or arguments over the time, that will be a breakdown. Status would be more your supervisor, manager, and then even like the janitors and stuff. You would think they've got a different status to maybe yourself or someone else, but everybody's equal, really. Everybody's important in their own right. And time pressures. With time pressures, if you want to try and get 6 loads a day and somebody wants to talk to you at the start of the day and you're in a rush and you want to go and start doing loads and not listening, he could give you important information. Maybe about your truck playing up or something like that, and you're in a hurry and you don't listen and something's wrong. So yeah, that'll be where time pressures would come in. Or your supervisor expects, more out of you than what you're capable of doing comfortably. That'd be another way. Is there anything on that at the moment that you want to ask questions on? Are you happy so far? Happy, Bill? Right, the next thing we got is a video. So as we go through the video, there'll be some do's and don'ts on communication. But like I said, they verbalise everything on there. There is some writing on there. So when there's writing comes up on the board, if you want me to stop, so you can tell Greg what you want written down, but they will verbalise it as well. So just have a quick listen and just maybe put your hand up or something like that quickly, and I'll just press pause, and we'll pause it, write down those notes really quick. So you just tell Greg what you want written, and then we'll move forward. And then if you want to have a quick discussion on the do's and don'ts, which we've addressed them, but they're in the video as well. So.
Welcome to Business Training Media's channel. In today's video, we'll discuss workplace communication tips, the do's and don'ts. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for expert insights, professional development advice, and management tips. Let's get started. Effective workplace communication is the cornerstone of a productive, efficient, and harmonious work environment. Whether you're interacting with colleagues, managers, or clients, the way you convey information can significantly impact relationships, collaboration, and overall organizational success. Good communication fosters clarity, reduces misunderstandings, and boosts team morale. It enables smooth workflows and ensures everyone is on the same page regarding goals and expectations. On the flip side, poor communication can lead to frustration, unresolved conflicts, and diminished trust, which ultimately affect productivity and job satisfaction. To navigate workplace interactions effectively, it's crucial to adopt strategies that promote clear and respectful communication while avoiding common pitfalls. With that said, let's explore 5 essential do's and don'ts for workplace communication to help you build strong professional relationships and contribute to a positive work culture. The do's of workplace communication. Number 1, to practice active listening. Effective communication.
Would you like me to pause it or just keep going with the video? Yeah. Think you can keep up? Are you happy to relay them to Greg as we go along? Yep. Okay, sweet.
Communication begins with active listening. Pay full attention when someone is speaking, make eye contact, and acknowledge their points with verbal or nonverbal cues like nodding. Active listening not only demonstrates respect, but also helps you fully understand the speaker's message, preventing miscommunication. To show you're engaged, ask thoughtful questions, or paraphrase their points for confirmation. Number 2, do be clear and concise. Clarity is key in the workplace. Whether you're drafting an email, giving instructions, or speaking in a meeting, strive to be as clear and concise as possible. Avoid unnecessary jargon or overly complex complex language that could confuse your audience. Break down information into manageable chunks and focus on the key points to ensure your message is easily understood. Number 3, do tailor your communication style. One size does not fit all in communication. Adapt your style based on your audience and the context. For example, use a formal tone when addressing senior management or external stakeholders, but feel free to adopt a more conversational tone in casual team meetings. Understanding your audience ensures that your message resonates effectively. Number 4, do provide constructive feedback. Feedback is an essential part of workplace communication, but it's crucial to deliver it constructively. When providing feedback, focus on specific behaviors or actions rather than personal attributes. Use examples to illustrate your points and offer actionable suggestions for improvement. This approach helps colleagues grow professionally while preserving a positive working relationship. Number 5, do leverage your technology effectively. In today's digital workplace, leveraging the right communication tools is essential. Use project management software, video conferencing, or collaboration platforms to streamline communication and ensure accessibility. However, it's important to match the medium to the message. For example, use email for detailed instructions or formal updates, while instant messaging is ideal for quick clarifications. Now that we've covered the essential do's of effective workplace communication, it's time to turn our attention to the pitfalls to avoid. In this section, we'll explore the don'ts of workplace communication, behaviors and habits that can hinder collaboration, create misunderstandings, and disrupt a positive work environment. Number 1, don't interrupt. Interrupting someone mid-conversation is not only disrespectful, but can also derail the flow of communication. Even if you feel eager to share your thoughts, wait until the other person has finished speaking. This demonstrates patience and ensures a respectful exchange of ideas. Number 2, don't overuse emojis or slang. While emojis and casual language may be acceptable in informal or team chats, they should be used sparingly in professional settings. Overusing them can make you appear unprofessional or undermine the seriousness of your message. Always consider the formality of the situation and the recipient's expectations. Number 3, don't assume understanding. It's a common mistake to assume that your audience fully understands your message after you've communicated it. Misunderstandings can easily occur, especially in written communication. To prevent this, encourage questions or provide a summary to confirm that your message has been received and understood as intended. Number 4, don't avoid difficult conversations. Conflict and challenges are inevitable in any workplace, but avoiding difficult conversations only makes matters worse. Whether it's addressing performance issues, resolving conflicts, or discussing sensitive topics, approach these situations with tact and professionalism. Use a calm and solution-focused approach to foster resolution and understanding. Number 5, don't neglect nonverbal communication. Nonverbal cues such as body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice play a significant role in communication. Crossed arms, a lack of eye contact, or a monotone voice can unintentionally convey negativity or disinterest. Pay attention to your nonverbal signals and ensure they align with the message you're trying to convey. Why does effective workplace communication matter? Mastering workplace communication is more than just a professional skill. It's a critical factor for career advancement and organizational success. Clear, respectful, and intentional communication builds trust, enhances teamwork, and creates a culture of collaboration. By practicing the do's and avoiding the don'ts, you can foster positive relationships, reduce conflicts, and ensure your ideas are heard and understood. Remember, communication is a two-way process. It's not just about expressing your thoughts, but also about understanding and responding to others effectively. Whether you're engaging in face-to-face conversations, writing emails, or leading virtual meetings, the way you communicate reflects your professionalism and can significantly impact your workplace reputation. Investing time and effort into improving your communication skills can lead to better career opportunities, stronger teamwork, and a more productive work environment. So take these tips to heart and start building better workplace connections today. Want more workplace communication tips? Check out the links in our description below, where you'll find...
All right. How'd you go with the video? Make sense? Nice. Okay. And yeah, if you do need links to the videos or what have you, let me know and I can track them down and give them to you. Why don't you do that?
free online...
Right, the next part of it is communication channels. Different channels of communication would be workplace meetings. That could go from toolbox talks, workplace meetings, supervisor meetings, all those sorts of things. Making and receiving calls. If you were to make a phone call and you're not sure even whether you're going to get the fellow at the other end, if you have a bit of information written down previous, at least then you've set yourself out that you know the conversation, you know the dot points, you don't get lost somewhere in the conversation. Make sure you say who you are, what you're ringing about, and then just go through what you had to say, and then and even just leave your phone number at the end and your verbal, and just make sure you speak nice and clearly so the next person can understand what you're saying. So that sort of goes in with your voicemails as well as making and receiving calls. When you lay out your emails, personal emails and work emails are a little bit different. So your personal ones can be more of a chatty, informal nature. You could use different language than if you were speaking to your manager, which would have to be very formal, to the point, have to be structured in a way that's work appropriate, more so than if you were to talk to Greg, you could have a bit of a joke and what have you. But yeah, if you were to leave an email, you would you'd have your receiver's name, maybe the date, the subject you were talking about, which is up the top, the message. So the body of the message will have all your points that you need to leave the receiver. Leave your name, your email address, so they can get back to you if not the same email address that you sent it from. Maybe even a return phone number could be okay if they want to just maybe ring you quickly and just verify what they've received, and it might be a little bit more personal for them. They could just ring up and just say, oh, is that about such and such, or this task or something, and get it done. Messages and notes. If you were to leave a message or a note for somebody like myself or Greg or something in the workplace, just write it in a fashion that is maybe big enough that we can read clearly, understand, maybe not leave words that we wouldn't understand, different emojis or the smiley faces or bits that aren't going to be valid. And text messages, they're the most instant form of communication now in the workplace. But make sure your language is appropriate in workplace settings, and to who you're sending a text message to, being it your boss or your work colleague, but still don't be disrespectful towards anybody else. Even if you want to have a joke about somebody else in the workplace, just be careful, because that's in a written form and can be used against you, if it was taken wrong. So yeah, just be careful of how you leave text messages, and then don't overuse emojis like they said in the video just a minute ago. Any questions on that little bit so far? No? Okay, I think the last part we've got is just a couple of review questions, which I'll just ask you. Which barrier of communication do you think affects our group most, and why?
I think that'll have to be toolbox meetings.
Toolbox meetings? Right, that affects it, yeah?
Yeah, everyone can ask questions, and people might ask questions and others will follow.
Yep.
And we get answers straight away.
Yep, right, and that's in a group setting, so everybody's on the same page. Yep, okay. How do you prefer to give and receive information or communication, sorry, and how will this benefit our group? So how can we benefit, or would you prefer just to stick with the toolbox talks, or?
There's also messaging on the tablets.
Yep.
Everyone will receive them at the same time.
Yep.
It's clear.
It's still a group thing, if something changes through the day?
Yep.
Yep, cool. And can you think of a recent conflict that was resolved either positively or poorly? And could you adapt a communication strategy that could have changed that outcome?
Yeah, one of our workmates was stood down.
Yep.
Just made a bit more positive environment for our work group.
Yep, yep.
Everyone's sort of a bit more positive.
Yep.
And feel like it's a bit more of a team atmosphere, yeah.
Okay, yep. Do you think that guy that was stood down could have approached the whole situation differently to not have that outcome in the first place? Yeah. Communication, different communication style might have been.
Yeah, his communication with the group was poor.
Yep. Okay, and of course conflict. Okay, no worries. All right. Have you got any other questions or anything like that I can help with? Okay. You'll notice in the pack that I gave you there was a learner evaluation form. I can fill out the top, so the training program, which was on our first page, is working effectively with others, and the course name. So I can fill that out at the top for you. I can put my name in the second. I'll put my date, but don't put any personal information in there. But by all means, if you want any help with reading the questions out, I've got plenty more sheets. I can read them out for you if they don't make sense or the writing's too small. And then just answer them honestly, and just give genuine feedback on how we can better ourselves as a company and how I can better present to a group or to anybody else in the future. It's all valid and anonymous. And then if you have any issues or anything like that and you want to appeal the course or any decisions made in the course, you're valid to an appeals process. And if you want to know how to obtain that, let me know and I'll do that by any means. But if there's any way I could possibly help you in the future, let me know. Is there anything more I can do for you today? No worries, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your help, Greg. Cheers.